I know an old guy.
I know an old guy.
We're good.
I was going to say something, but the camera's rolling, so I won't.
I told you, the best one is going to be the blooper reel.
Oh, yeah, the blooper reel. Yeah, that's right.
Welcome back to Blue Jay Bonsai. In today's episode, I'm going to be sharing with you the video that I recorded for the Toronto Bonsai Society on how to repot a larch. But first, I want to thank, of course, the Toronto Bonsai Society for letting me share this video on my channel. And a special thanks to El Presidente, Mr. Larch, and of course, Ray. So since this video was intended originally to be part of a training series for new members, there's a lot of extra video intended for that training purpose, which some of you pros might not need. That includes the typical tools used while repotting a tree, and of course, how to mix up some bonsai soil. In this case, we are going with one of the Toronto Bonsai Society recipes, which is black lava, beautiful, wherever you are, pumice, and composted pine bark fines. And of course, this is the amazing pine bark from Ray's. So generally, these three ingredients are added in roughly 1/3, 1/3, 1/3 ratio. However, since the person who is going to be taking care of this tree is not able to water as frequently, the pine bark fines was actually closer to 50% in this. And once again, I'm not having much luck with the video gods. And I was not able to capture all of the root pruning. But as you can see, we took off about 1/3 of the roots, including one big ugly potato root that was crossing underneath. It's also important to have multiple choices in pots when you're repotting a tree, because you never know until you get into the roots which one is going to be the best fit. And in this video, we ended up going with the mid-size Formica pot. Just like Goldilocks and the Three Bears, one was too small, one was too big, but this one was just right. So after preparing the pot with some drainage screens and some wire for tying it down, a little bit of last-minute pruning on some of the roots that are sticking up, so, as usual, we fill the bottom of the bonsai pot with some of our substrate, mounding it up in the middle. Working the root base into the soil, making sure that there are no air gaps. As part of this educational video, of course, we do also demonstrate wiring the tree into the pot in the more traditional Japanese style. And as I've mentioned in a previous video, it's always important to pull up on the wire while twisting. Otherwise, if you just keep twisting around and around in the same spot, you'll actually break the wire off. So now that the tree is nice and secure in the pot, we can go ahead and top it up with some more of our bonsai soil. And start to work it in and make sure, once again, there are no air pockets or air gaps anywhere within the roots. This is actually a long process, working the soil into the roots and topping it up with additional soil, and just continuing until indeed you've worked all of the air pockets out and filled all the gaps with soil. So here we have the larch, nice and secure in his new pot, wired in, soil all topped up. This is a beautiful little tree, and I sure regret not having picked one up while I was at Ray's myself. So here Mr. Larch was demonstrating the use of some cut paste on the one piece of exposed root. Typically larches do not need cut paste. And now Mr. Larch uses some top dressing made from shredded sphagnum moss, which is always great to retain moisture. And if you're going to be actually adding decorative moss, it also makes a great base for that to grow on top of. And now it's time to move on to styling and wiring. So this is an example of creating a little gin from a branch that we knew we would not want in the final composition. And we continue on with wiring the tree. Trying our best to use proper wiring techniques. Putting a little bit of movement into the branch. And here Mr. Larch has decided to take the top branch that he's using as the apex and really give it a radical bend. Bringing it down and around and adding a bit of a twist into it. So I think the final design is really cool looking. Mr. Larch did a great job with his design, but he's not quite finished. So by adding this guy wire, he's able to put a little bit more of a bend into the tree without having to wire the entire trunk. and getting it to lean forward more towards the viewer. And as we were taught at the recent wiring workshop, using a little stick or a thick piece of wire, you can twist the guy wire. It just gives it a much more decorative look and polished look. And of course, no video at Ray's would be complete without some wisdom imparted from Ray.
This is sidewalk moss.
That is sidewalk moss.
That's the best.
Yeah.
Really, I was in the growing in that. When I go to the nursery, I'm in nurseries and I'm getting stuff. It's granular material everywhere. So I'm walking around. I just pull up my knife and they go, "What are you doing with that?" I said, "Give me a pot." They go, "What? I want the moss." You guys, you weird guy. Yeah, take the moss. Oh, some of the nicest moss is coming out of production nurseries because it's all over the place.
Wow.
So I just scoop it up.
So with the decorative moss in place, and I present to you the final composition. Mr. Larch has said that I can do some video with him in future when he next works on the tree. So if you like this, I will keep you up to date on the future progress of it. Personally, I think it looks fantastic. And now it's time for subscribers' picks. If you'd like to see your photos of your trees, bonsai or pre-bonsai on the channel, then send us an email with your name, the name and species of your tree, and any other interesting information. Colin sent us these pictures all the way from South Africa. He says he's a beginner, but I don't believe him. These trees are too nice. He sent this picture of a Portulacaria forest just for me because he knows how much I love it. And he says that this Sarissa was definitely inspired by Nigel. Keep up the great work, Colin. Well, everyone knows Christian from the comments. And he sent in these pics, all with the theme of red. First, the red leaves on the brush cherry. And then on this Japanese maple, the beautiful red leaves that have come out. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next episode.